Every dog alive today, from a Chihuahua to a Great Dane, descends from the Canis lupus, or grey wolf, and the grey wolf was not our friend. Around 40,000 years ago, early humans and grey wolves were direct rivals. Both sat at the top of the food chain. Both needed large quantities of meat to survive. Where one thrived, the other competed. The hunting strategies of early humans and grey wolves were also nearly identical. Neither relied on speed to catch prey. Both used endurance, following a target relentlessly over vast distances until it collapsed from exhaustion, then moving in for the kill. We weren't just competing for the same food. We were competing for it in exactly the same way, on exactly the same terrain. Two apex predators running the same strategy in the same territory made us natural enemies. Then something shifted. Some wolves, not the bold, aggressive ones in the center of the pack, but the more cautious, more solitary individuals on the edges, began lurking around human campsites at night. Humans generated waste, and waste meant food without the risk of a hunt. These wolves were using us, and we allowed it to happen. At this point, the relationship ran in one direction only. The wolves that kept doing this, that tolerated human proximity without attacking and without fleeing, were the ones that ate more regularly and survived more reliably. The aggressive ones that avoided camps or tried to raid them were either driven off or killed. Over generations, the less aggressive wolves were the ones that lived, reproduced, and passed their temperament on. They weren't being selected by humans. They were selecting themselves simply by choosing to stay close to us. Their social structure, built around cooperation, hierarchy, and reading the behavior of others, made the transition into a human environment surprisingly natural. Eventually, humans recognized the opportunity. Wolves could detect threats at night with senses far sharper than ours. They could track prey across distances we couldn't follow. They could help herd, guard, and hunt. For the first time, the relationship became mutual. The wolves got reliable food and protection, and we gained a living tool with capabilities we didn't have. Our greatest rival had become our first working partner. That partnership predates every other form of domestication in human history. Dogs were living alongside humans at least 15,000 years ago, possibly as far back as 40,000. Livestock came later, crops came later. Before humans figured out how to cultivate wheat or keep cattle, we had already been living alongside domesticated wolves for thousands of years. The dog was not just the first domesticated animal, it was the first domesticated anything. Over the thousands of years that followed, those domesticated wolves slowly changed. The traits that made them easier to live with, softer temperaments, less aggressive features, smaller teeth, rounder faces, were the traits that got them kept and fed. The ones that were too wild were not. Gradually, through thousands of generations of that informal selection, the wolf became the dog. Then, in the Victorian era, humans became deliberate about it. Breeders began selecting for specific traits: speed in greyhounds, scent tracking in bloodhounds, herding instinct in border collies, small size for companionship. The variety of breeds exploded. Some of what was created in that period was functional. Some of it was purely aesthetic, and some of those aesthetic choices produced dogs with structural problems they now carry permanently: breathing difficulties in flat-faced breeds and skeletal issues in breeds with exaggerated proportions. Today there are over 450 recognized dog breeds, serving purposes that extend far beyond companionship. Dogs detect drugs, explosives, and diseases. They guide the visually impaired, assist people with epilepsy, herd livestock, and pull sleds across Arctic terrain. The bond between dogs and humans is now so deeply embedded, that dogs respond to human facial expressions and emotional states in ways no other animal does. The animal that once competed with us for the same prey on the same ground is now the most widely kept companion in human history. Click the video on your screen right now, and I'll explain another everyday mystery you've wondered about your whole life but never thought to look up.